Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station. I'm Tania Omar, and some of the stories coming up in today's news: District Health Member questions guidelines, pond status as asset apparent, an Irish commemoration, and more. Fluoride was on the agenda at the Nelson Marlborough District Health Board monthly board meeting on Tuesday afternoon, with CEO Chris Fleming speaking to the board about fluoride in water. Mainland has been informed that board member Judy Crowe raised some questions at the meeting around when fluoride had first been introduced into a water supply in the city of Hastings in 1954, at a time where there was no legislation in the form of health and safety as we know it today. The question she posed at the meeting was how would the Nelson Marlborough DHB set fluoride guidelines and monitor dosages for the large sections of the population that would exceed the toxic limits for fluoride ingestion, including, but not limited to, bottle-fed infants and children under 8 years old, people suffering from impaired kidney function, people who drink a lot of fluoridated water, including diabetics and athletes, as well as those who have high fluoride intake from other sources such as diet and toothpaste. We understand that she then asked that her previous recommendations in support of fluoride be withdrawn. We were unable to contact District Health Board member Judy Crowe for comment before going to air. DHB CEO Chris Fleming put out a report this month acknowledging the government's announcement for introducing legislation to the House later this year to move the responsibility for decision-making with respect to community water fluoridation from local authorities to district health boards. He said that while the board would have preferred that this decision was moved to a national level, given the government's decision, they welcome this move. He said district health boards are much better positioned to review the evidence and make a decision which is the best overall for the wider community. Given that Nelson Marlborough DHB already has a stated position on fluoride, they will work with central government over the next months to ensure that both the legislative process proceeds in line with government requirements and that processes are developed which are transparent, enables the broader community voice to be heard and leads to decisions based on robust evidence. Government indications are that the proposed legislation will come into force in early 2018. Last weekend's long weekend produced some exceptional but breezy weather, allowing families the opportunity to get out and enjoy some of what the region has to offer. A special open day at the Modeller's Pond was well received, with visitors, families and hobbyists all making use of the recent water-filled pond and Modeller's trains. Chrissy Small was there and caught up with people to ask them their thoughts on Nelson Council's ultimatum to the 16 members of the Society of Modellers to find $600,000 by September to keep the pond afloat or otherwise see it filled in completely.
Well, personally, I'd like to see it stay. It's been here all my life, and I'm 59, and as a kid I remember coming down here with my father with a little yacht, putting it in over there and tack over there and run round here, change the rudder, go over there again, and okay, these radio control yachts, it's not where we normally sail, but the wind's a bit washy-washy, but that's sort of the idea of the day, just to sort of promote the pond and keeping it here, and just a sensible solution to doing the bottom so it's serviceable if it weeds up. I think it wants to be deeper and to be able to be drained properly down the back beach so the sun can be drained and the sun can dry it, and then refilled on the tide. Sort of work with nature, not against nature, but there's all sorts of theories on how to do it.
So what do you think about council's kind of blanket ultimatum?
Do you mean filling the pond in?
Well, yeah.
Well, you know, they'll never get it back, will they? And look at all the kids and the people having fun, and it's all part of the railways, and you know, it is part of the original mudflat, I believe. So yeah, it's just natural it's been here, but it's been made into a pond.
So you see it as an asset?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Well, we're spending the money on and fixing it, and just the weed problem just wants to be sort of serviceable in one way or the other. I'm sure it's not rocket science. it's pretty basic stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you'd like to think so.
That's right.
Talking about a concrete bottom, getting the road sweeper in to sweep it up, and all that sounds sensible too,
Very practical, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Should have been done years ago.
Well, I believe it's just sort of things a bit different now, and the weeds sort of
More
building
invasive.
up. Yeah. And also the back beach has filled up a lot over the years, so it makes the drainage a lot harder to do.
Out with his model boats was Society of Modellers President Noel Dyer. Chrissy caught up with him to talk about the ultimatum over the pond.
Noel, what about the potential loss of this wonderful asset here? What do you think about that?
Don't start me. Don't start me. I know what's caused it, and I know what could fix it fairly smartly. But I will keep my thoughts to myself instead of making it public. There are a couple of good bugs in the works, and the club's getting the blame for it, unfortunately. And they've tried over the years to keep it under control, but the council's made a muck-up of the stormwater drain being put into the pond, which has made the pond completely worse than what it was, say, 10 years ago.
And now they've given you a deadline to raise some funds, I believe, till September.
That's right.
Were you expecting that to be sprung upon you in the last few weeks?
No, not really, but that's their decision.
Was it a realistic decision?
No.
I mean, what do you charge for rides and for the use of the ponds for the kiddies here?
We charge $1 a head.
So you'd need 600,000 children to come through here between now and September to be able to raise that money.
That's right, and we're going to give it a go, and we hope some people will come out of the woodwork and maybe give us a little helping hand, and it'll be interesting to see what the outcome is. I think there's a bit of politicking going on, but that's only my view.
It just seems such an asset. It would be a terrible loss.
It would, yeah. We sit at the trains over there, and we get 4 generations coming through of people.
I've even seen Mr. Nick Smith down here with his kids when they were younger.
Yeah. And when you get an aircraft come in, and the first thing they do is get off the plane at the airport into a car with Grandad, Grandma, and come around here and have to have a train ride today, straight off the plane. That sort of makes you what sort of place it is.
Yeah. Well, look, we've got such a lovely landscape, and you guys have been really, really part of that around here with the train tracks and everything. Filling this will just make it look bleak, won't it?
It would be just like a garden, a paddock. Be just back to a paddock. And some of the councillors are on our side and want to get it fixed properly. And there's a few others that...
Bit like Natureland, didn't see the value in it.
Yeah, everything gets blamed on the poor community when there's bad decisions made in the offices.
No, look, I just hope people get behind the cause here and can dig a bit deeper in their pockets than just $1. How can they donate?
They can go through, we've got a give a little page on the internet. Yeah. We have boxes around the place, donation boxes around, and we've got a sort of fund set aside. So here's hoping.
Yeah.
And
so we want to see it here for future generations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been coming here since 1982. I came down from Wellington and came down to twiddle my thumbs and have fun with the boats. But it's only the last 5 or 6 years that I haven't been able to do the boats, and I've got 15 of them sitting there that I've been sitting there doing the trains. I went and drive trains, and
So you're a hardcore modeller addict then, obviously, Noel.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I came into Nelson in 1968. I was actually doing the kit set ones. When I shifted down to Nelson, I had a bit of a break and then got back into it. I've now got my family coming through, and there's their kids.
So I would say that you'd be a good man to tap into. Any of those youngsters wanting to get to know a bit about modelling, they should come down here and see Noel Dyer.
Yes. Yeah. I've even been doing model boats for. I've got 12. I've done 8 for tallies, fisheries, repainting those ones. They rang me up and wanted the boats done in the fleet colours. And I thought, well, this would be interesting. And as I say, 8 boats I've done so far. Had to take them out of glass cases. They've been sitting in offices and sit and repaint them all. So it's a lot of fun. And my wife knows where I'm hiding, in the workshop.
In the man shed.
Yes.
Well, look, Noel Dyer, Give a Little Page, I guess, what is it titled?
Give a Little Page has got, at the end of it, it's got the pond after it.
Okay, so maybe Modellers Society Pond or fundraising. We'll find that out and stick it on our screen. And look, thank you very much for your time today and the best of luck.
I think there's a lot of ratepayers on our side wanting to know why the club has been lumbered with us when it should be done in town.
Anzac Weekend was a time for remembrance, but not just those who died during the First and Second World Wars, but also for an event which took place 100 years ago in Ireland. Some local Tasman residents got together in Richmond to remember an Irish uprising in 1916. Chrissy Small spoke to Mary Ellen O'Connor about the event which took place on the weekend.
Mary Ellen, can you tell us a bit about what the commemoration was all about on the weekend?
Yes, Chrissy. We had a 100-year commemoration rather than a celebration of the 1916 Easter Rising in Dublin, when about 1,500 very poorly equipped men and women decided to take on the might of the British Army and actually lost. It was a kind of a marvellously optimistic venture, really, and it didn't come off. But it's generally regarded now as the sort of the beginning of the Irish independence from England.
Right, and I guess Irish descendants were involved in this weekend commemoration?
Indeed. Yes, we managed to summon about 100 people along. I guess we were kind of running mostly off the Irish Catholic community, but also the Celtic music scene is quite strong in Nelson, and so we drew those people in. And all in all, we had a wonderful night, a mix of kind of presentations, a little bit of historical background, the role of women in the Rising, the proclamation of the Irish Republic as it was read out on the steps of the General Post Office in Dublin. We had a roll of honour for those who they executed 16 of them afterwards, the British, and so it was those executions that in fact ended up kind of swaying, bringing public opinion round behind the rebels, making people really think a bit more seriously about it all. So, and then after we had our food and drink halfway through, we had some Irish music. So we had a very good night of it, actually.
And I suppose the Guinness flowed.
That's right.
Okay. Oh, well,
it was very good.
Was this the first of its kind here in Nelson?
Oh, yes, because it was 2016, it was 100 years, so I just decided we couldn't let that one pass, and so managed to talk a couple of others into the organisation and hired a hall, and away we went. We had a great sort of rolling visuals on the wall because there was quite a lot of good black and white footage and a lot of very good photographs, and so that kept going all night again. So whatever was being spoken about, we had it, up on the screen as well. So it was good.
That sounds marvellous. Now, tell me, next year, it'll be 101 years.
101 years.
101.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Because of the way that history unfolded, it did lead to it led to a terrible war with England. It's got the Anglo-Irish War of 1919 to 21, and then a terrible civil war in Ireland itself from 22 to 23. But one way and another, there's quite a lot of centenary commemorations coming up around Ireland, and all of those various things that happen subsequently. So we may summon the crowd again for one of those.
Now, tell me, back 100 years ago, of course, was the First World War. So how did the British being fully involved in that?
That's a very good point. It was basically because Britain was so involved in the First World War on the Western Front, they were literally bogged down in France. It was regarded as a good opportunity to kind of have a go by the Irish, and yet the Irish had been under the British boot for 800 years, and so they saw Britain's involvement in the First World War as the opportunity to go for independence. But one way and another, things got quite disorganised, and they ended up without the numbers and the arms and a whole lot of things that they thought they were going to have. So they failed, for example, because of the low turnout of people, they failed to grab the railway and the port, which meant that British reinforcements could be brought in very rapidly, which they were, along with 4 18-pounder guns and, artillery, basically, and they smashed them to pieces. So, so it was, at the time, it was a very sorry story, but it's one of those things that has got sort of has been imaginatively very compelling for people. People have looked back to it as an extraordinary moment in history and that kind of thing.
One thing about the Irish is they really don't mind taking up arms to fight for their cause, really, do they?
Well, it has been criticised, but I mean, I think you've only got to look back at what went on in the previous 800 years to understand why they took up arms.
Yeah.
You know? Things were pretty dreadful in Ireland. You'll know the story of the famines.
Potato
famine in the 1840s,
yes.
And the terrible evictions in the 1880s, and so you could understand the resorting to arms.
Yeah. Mary Ellen, look, thank you so much for your time today, and what a great effort.
Thank you. Thanks for the interest, Chrissy. Much appreciated.
Figures released earlier this month show complaints nationwide to the Health Department about DHBs continues to increase. In July to December 2015, the 422 complaints received is the highest number of complaints about DHBs ever received in a 6-month period. The services and issues complained about remain similar to what have been seen in previous 6-month periods, with surgical services being the most commonly complained about service type at DHBs, and a missed, incorrect or delayed diagnosis being the most common primary issue in complaints about DHBs. Figures show that the Nelson Marlborough DHB has received 141.92 complaints out of every 100,000 discharges in this latest report, which equates to 16 complaints made out of the 11,274 discharges in the 6-month period. Are cuts in services responsible for the increase in complaints landing on the Nelson Marlborough DHB's doorstep? We know that the Minister of Health has instructed DHBs the length of the country to trim over $132 million from their operational costs. So is this cost cutting contributing to the problem? We asked people in Nelson to gauge their level of contentment with the region's district health services. How do you think the Nelson Marlborough DHB is performing?
Not very good. Funding's been cut by the government. Jonathan Coleman has cut far too much funding, and the government, since this government's been in office, the health services got worse, despite all the government spin.
Do you know anyone affected by the health funding cuts?
No, I don't. No, sorry, I don't.
Do you know someone waiting on any specialist appointments in the last 2 years?
No, I don't, but I know the waiting lists are getting worse because I've read about it online, and I follow politics very closely, and I think it's appalling. And I think, as I said before, the spin this government puts out about issues, the big issues, they're not very good at really addressing them. They only spin, and it only makes them look good.
I think they should have more money for families and that, because there's a lot of kids that are suffering from food and things like that, and clothing and that, and I think they should have more for that instead of wasting it on other things that they shouldn't have.
And have you, or do you know anyone that's been affected by the funding cuts?
No, I don't. I don't know anybody that has been.
I don't have many thoughts on it. I'm more into alternative things. So I personally would like if school medicine and alternative medicine would work better together. The district health board, they focus more on pure medicine, medication, immunization. They don't ever look on the other side. So for me, education is about looking at both sides, which they don't offer for me at all. They do one-sided thing. I have to go and look for the other side myself.
Well, I do hear from nurses that they're understaffed and running ragged, and even new graduates that are really working hard, and it's usually where it breaks down. I don't know enough about the management side of it there, but I certainly know that the nurses work hard and really earn their money.
Why is it that when consumers are once again about to go into a peak usage season, heading into winter, that the power prices go up? Trustpower this month is informing its customers that prices are set to go up by 3% from the 20th of May. We asked people what their thoughts were on higher prices and what that will mean for them and their families. So some of the power companies are increasing their prices just before winter. What are your thoughts around the power increases?
Well, I don't think it is good to increase them during the winter because that's when the consumers need them the most. We're just re-looking at all the power, having come from another city, so it's a good time, and we use the internet to have a look at who offers the best deal at the moment.
I think that is bad because people are struggling in poverty at the moment, and that the cost of living is rising all the time, and there's so much unemployment, and it's about the people at the top making the money, not the people at the bottom, and the gap between rich and poor is too high at the moment, and it's going to get higher with that sort of attitude.
I think it's not good to have increased power because some people can't pay for the power and some people can, because the power goes up and power goes down. It just depends on a family and that, of 4 or 5 and that. Yeah.
I wouldn't know why they do it because, of course, I can understand if they increase it if it's harder to get electricity. That would make sense, but I don't know why they're doing it, so I can't really comment then.
Well, it sounds like opportunism to me. I think they should be satisfied with the prices evened out over the year.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
Hi there, Julian Toon, Waimea Telecommunications. We install and maintain domestic and commercial satellite TV, UHF Freeview and Mainland TV installations in the Nelson, Tasman regions. We specialise in Panasonic telephone systems and provide communications, Wi-Fi, IT and wiring for internet, fibre, computers and DSL systems. At Waimea Telecommunications, we also provide specialist electronic systems for features such as a security camera you can watch on your TV, visitor alert systems and much more. Improve your security and communication and entertainment today. Call us on Waimea Telecommunications on 021 472297, ytel.co.nz.
Nelson Tire Center. Great prices, great service. Buy your own Bryford trailer. All types, all sizes. See Colin Douglas for your tires and batteries.
Are you looking for a scooter, walker, wheelchair, baby seats or pushchairs? Then come in and see the Nelson Region Specialist at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library. We have a huge selection of scooters, walkers, wheelchairs and accessories, along with a free booklet guide. We also provide a breakdown service if you ever get a puncture or a flat battery. We have fully equipped service vans to rescue you. Hi, I'm Robin Jordan and I invite you to call in and see the friendly team at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
For budding performers or people that just want to give it a go, there's a free talk and mask workshop on the 28th of April 2016 at the Elmer Turner Library in Nelson. Workshop times are 10 a.m. until noon. The youth workshop is from 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. There's no cost, but numbers are very limited. If you wish to register, contact Lloyd at Nelson Arts Council. New history panels celebrating Nelson's peace movement will be unveiled at the Peace Grove on Saturday the 23rd of April at 12 p.m. It's at the Peace Grove behind Miyazu Gardens. Parking by Miyazu Gardens, there's footpath access off Trafalgar Cycleway. If it's raining, a gathering will be held instead at Founders Heritage Park.
On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us, and we'll bring you the latest news and events from around the region again tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
Hi, I'm Paul Mainland and you're watching Ego TV, or something along those lines.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics toys,
sound systems, cables, and much, much more.
JCar 120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
I'm Larry London from VOA Music Mix, bringing you news on the hour from around the world, plus music 24/7, from the latest hits to those classic favorites to jazz on Saturday mornings, plus much, much more. You can contact us by Googling Mainland TV or follow us on Facebook. Cheers from the team at Mainland Radio 1 and VOA Music Mix.
Welcome me hearties to Smuggler's Pub and Cafe, famous for hearty meals, craft ales and a friendly service way. Sensational seasonal menus with meals all day and evening too, or sail in for a snack with special menus for young smugglers and you. Settle in for a jolly old time, relax and enjoy our award-winning dining and lovely fine wine. Decked out in an old worldly way, we're open 7 days. Book or come on in to 8 Muritai Street, not far from a beach, walk or swim. Phone 5464 084.